Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer, so now let's talk silver. Kitco News is by far the biggest precious metals news platform out there, and they definitely understand the magnitude of the silver shortage, the silver supply deficit. Now, we're going to break down an interview with Peter Croft, where he's talking about an industry could use nearly 100% of all the silver by 2030. And this is just one industry. He's talking about solar. He doesn't go into electric vehicles. He doesn't go into 5G towers, silver lithium-ion batteries. He doesn't go into any of that. This one sector alone, solar, could use nearly 100% within just a handful of years. So we're going to break this down. I'm going to show the video. And we're going to look at what he has to say. I might pause at some points. We might look at some different, some different thoughts that he has, throwing his 2 cents out there. Maybe I'll throw my 2 cents out there if I agree or disagree. And I think this is going to turn out to be a very good video. If you find this video to be educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. Please like the video if you like the video. Leave a comment. You definitely want to be subscribed. We just gave away a tube of sealed eagles, actually 2 tubes of sealed eagles, to my giveaway winners a couple days ago. And we'll be doing more as we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So with that said, let's check out this interview with Kitco News and Peter Croft.
So I think
and that would be enough to be very supportive of silver.
That would be very supportive, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's turn to the industrial side. You've said that you've described industrial demand as providing what you call a rising floor for silver prices. What is that made of? Can you break down the industrial demand side for us?
Yes. So industrial demand is made up of things like medical applications, electronics, automotive, and one really big one, I'm going to say the actual elephant when it comes to industrial demand for silver is solar power, because it's the single largest factor in silver demand on the industrial side. Represents 12% of the entire annual demand for silver for the entire market. So really, if you've to look and to determine where industrial demand is headed on the silver, in the silver sector, you have to really watch very closely solar, and solar has just been roaring. It's been tremendous, and I think that a lot of the forecasts for demand for silver from the solar side, in terms of solar panel production, has been underestimated.
Now, I really like what he said this part in the interview, where he goes into solar and how it is extremely underestimated. That's why I've tried to bring this topic to light for years now, same as Andy Schechtman and several others, but the whole point is the aftermath. People aren't looking at what's the outcome of not having enough silver for solar panels and EVs and trying to make the world go green for climate change and global warming. Yeah, we make a pretty penny right now, but at what cost? Just like with stimulus. Yeah, you get a $1,700 paycheck right now, but where'd that money come from? At what cost? It's going to catch up. People are looking at the micro, not the macro. And I'm glad that Kitco News is. But he says the solar's the elephant in the room. There's something else, though. There's another sector that is very underestimated that could even replace solar being the biggest factor, which is electric vehicles. Both of these alone accumulate. And it's not just like, oh, well, we could try to make up for this with recycling or something. No, we're talking about every automobile company by the year 2030 is going to be electric. And then he's talking about solar using nearly 100%. But we also have automobiles, electric vehicles using a very, very, very large percentage of silver. So what's going to happen with those two colliding? Where's that silver going to come from? See, we're in a situation that people are underestimating tenfold. And I think that once once industry, big industry, realizes, that's when we're going to see silver explode. There was a segment right before this where he's talking about the dollar index. See, the dollar index, yes, that's going for silver as well. But that isn't the most influential factor, because the dollar index could also affect gold, could also affect stock markets. We're talking about silver taking on a life of its own, regardless of what gold's doing, regardless of what the stock market's doing, because those factors aren't incorporated with what gives silver that shine of being needed in the next 5 to 10 years on a much grander scale than gold or anything else.
Very quickly in
It
recent
is.
years. So
That's
the
right.
trend is very, very up.
Very much so. So 12% of total demand, that's 140 million ounces out of 1.2 billion ounces. If you look at just some recent forecasts and not that far out, the International Energy Agency forecasts over the next 5 years that electricity from solar is going to triple globally. So, and some of the forecasts that go even farther out. It's obviously the farther out you go, the harder it is to be precise and accurate. But just on that basis, their forecast for 2030, that's 8 years out, would be that global electricity from solar would be up 8.5 times current levels. So my math tells me that
8.5 times 12 times the rate of growth.
right, you haven't factored in some likely growth. So even on that basis, you're looking at 8.5 times, say 140 million ounces. My calculation actually was before the recent upgrade in terms of demand. So we're at, in 8 years, almost the entire annual supply of silver, recycling and mining would go just to solar.
I'm really glad that he brought up recycling and mining and other variables that could potentially catch up. I mean, so we produce what, 850 million ounces of silver annually, but demand exceeds 1.21 billion ounces, and that number is only going to keep growing as these sectors keep growing. I mean, if you look at, when he's talking about solar, I'm assuming he's including electric vehicles, because once, and I might show the next part, he talks about solar and then he goes into silverware, investment demand, and medical and stuff like that. He doesn't even mention EVs, which is just as big as solar. So I think when he's talking about solar, he's talking about that as well. Regardless, though, the matter of fact is we could try to cut down the amount of silver. It's like 58 grams of silver per EV. They can try to cut it down to like 26 or whatever. And solar panels have a very short half-life. If we could try to figure out a way, or mining innovation, or we could try all these things, but that's not going to that's not going to catch up all the ground we need to fill the worst part is, it's not just like this is a 5 to 10 year goal. 15, 20 years, 30 years, it's just going to keep getting higher. The amount of silver we need is just going to keep growing. So if we're already having a hard time keeping up, if these dealers are already running dry, if the LBMA and the COMEX vaults are already damn near empty, how are we going to be able to keep up with that type of system? It's impossible. It's not realistic at all, which is scary, because we need silver for us to go green. I mean, we're going green for a reason. And if silver's the reason why we can't go green, then what does that mean? That means it's extremely, extremely valuable, but it also means that could be extremely dangerous if you're looking past the money and looking at what us as humans need, or where us as humans are going. So anyways, I thought this was an interesting article. I'm not going to watch all of it on my channel. I don't want to take away views. I'll post a link to the video in the description if you wanted to go directly check it out yourself. It's about 20 minutes long, so I covered a couple minutes of it, highlighted the main parts. He does talk about the dollar index and some stuff before. I just wanted to cover the industrial part, because I think that's the most important part regardless. So anyways, yeah, remember, I'm doing some more giveaways in the coming future, probably 3, maybe 4 more giveaways before we hit 100,000 subscribers. So by the next 4 to 5 months, I'll be doing more giveaways. If you guys want a chance, click subscribe. If you want to buy some silver from Andy Scheckman, send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. We did a live stream yesterday or 2 days ago, and it was amazing. It was amazing. We averaged like 800 viewers, concurrent viewers. So at any given time throughout the live stream, there was about 600 to 800 people in the chat watching. It was amazing, and Andy did phenomenal breaking down what's happening with the SVB and all the banks, and he did an incredible job. So I highly recommend you go check that out as well. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like the video if you liked the video, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.